So now we're going to go into nutrition. You guys ask as many questions as you want along the way. This is a really fun spot. This is my bread and butter. This is what I love besides obviously fitness. So I don't know if you guys remember Coach Lori. She's not here anymore. Her and I, we started this program together called Clean Cut Fitness and Nutrition. It has been around for a long time. We wrote a book and we have honed this thing in. I live it day in and day out. I'm going to start off with, I love tequila. I love wine. I love pizza. I love French fries. I love chicken fingers. I like it all. I eat it. I enjoy it. I just manage it and I know how to do it. I don't eat seeds and grass and hug trees. I love food. I love life. I love food. I love going out. I'm a real person and I was sick and tired of trying to live this life that was so restricted because I was so scared of food and I was so scared my jeans weren't going to fit and it made me sick and I was tired of it and I decided to do some research. I got myself certified. I tested things out on myself and I will tell you that it was really, really scary. I came from fat-free, sugar-free, low calories, blah, 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 blah. When I started reading that I needed to eat good fat and real mayo and real ice cream, I panicked. And I was like, all right, I'm going to trust science. I'm going to trust everything I'm learning. And I started doing it. And lo and behold, I lost weight. I felt great. My energy was better. And I just put it all into practice. So through the years, I have created it with Lori, this amazing system that actually works. You just have to plug it in that works for you. It's all about education. Food is science. Food is fuel. That's what it is. There's also a lot of pleasure in it, and I like the pleasure in it, as we all do. So understanding that food is fuel, and what we do at Clean Cut is we help you, we guide you through it. It's not about not having a complete macro, protein, carbohydrate, fat, macros, right? It's not about taking the entire category out. No one should not live on carbohydrates. The type of carbohydrates you live on is one thing, but no one should live without a complete macro. It's not healthy. We have them all for a reason. They all do a different thing in our body and we need them all. So, learning how to manage it and being able to have my pizza, but what do I take out? I want a glass of wine. Okay, what did I do? It's thought, it's process, it's practice. So this is funny. Okay. If you're doing a diet, you're not doing it right. It's balance. It's a lifestyle. And sometimes you just eat when you're bored. I just think that's funny. You're hungry. Shut the door. Okay. Let me just continue with you guys. Hold on.
Here, do you want me to?
That would be great.
While you thought that.
This is our little funny thing that we just looked at. And now we're moving to the next slide. Okay. All right. Keto, paleo, vegetarian, vegan, raw, blah, 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 blah. Listen, if you're a vegetarian, you're a vegan, that is a preference. I am not against any of them. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't have all of the same amounts of proteins and everything else in the same carbohydrates. So, Clean Cut, we kind of live right on the edge of all these because there's really no one way. And I will tell you that from experience with working with thousands of people, there's no cookie cutter way to do this. So moving on, our steps. Go to the next one. Okay. Healthy fat. Now what? I don't know how to do this. Okay. All right. So healthy fats, what are they? Anyone know what healthy fats are? Yep. Yep. Could be more, guys. Yep. Olive oil, peanuts, correct. Well done. Well done. Real Irish butter, real cream, real cheese. These are all good. You're gonna love me. By the end of this, you guys are gonna be so excited about what you can eat and what you shouldn't eat. Because you probably have it flip-flops, right? I know, it's amazing, right? It's amazing. All right, we're gonna go to the next little ditty. Okay, so why are fats good for you? So fats burn on fat, right? Okay. So we're on the treadmill and we're using calories. Calories are what? Energy. Energy, that's what we get from our food. That's all it is. Food is energy, right? What kind of energy are we putting in? What kind of energy are we coming out? Have you ever been here and you went out the night before and you ate like an animal and you came in here and you were a slug the entire time you're in here, right? And then there are times that you were like, had a nice lean meal, you had a little bit of everything, you come in, you're like, I feel great. What did you do right?
I often feel when I don't have that, the opposite.
But say it again.
I actually feel when I really got like I really eat really lean, like chicken and broccoli, I have a worse workout.
Yeah, because you don't have enough carbohydrates.
So like last night, like today, I was like one of my best workouts ever.
Yeah.
I stole some of her spaghetti.
Perfect.
And I said some.
Perfect.
I stole a whole.
Okay, that's fine. It's fine.
Like
It's fine. You're just not going to do it again today.
Yeah, no, I can't do
No,
it.
you can't do it again today. That's it. It's really that's it right there. You did it once, you can't do it again, right? You can't just do it and do it and do it and do it. So why are good fats so important? So okay, I'm gonna go, the next part I think is gonna be like all calories are not created equal. So let's do it like this. So real food, first of all, it tastes better. So if you take a yogurt, right, or an ice cream, and you peel out all of the fat, they have to add something in it to make it taste good. It's usually added sugar, which is what we're not trying to do. We're not trying to add sugar into our diet. There's usually probably some chemical in there, something. So we want real wholesome food because our body knows exactly what to do with ice cream, butter, cheese, real bread, real pasta. It knows what to do with it. When you're trying to cheat the system and you're like, oh, I'm gonna have this low fat, sugar-free, fat-free bar, and you read the ingredients and you have no idea what they say, neither does your body.
Mhm.
If you can't read the label, put it down. Your body has no idea what to do with it.
Mhm.
And I'm saying this like the less ingredients that something has, the safer it is. So not only does fat turn on your fat burning system, and this is why, it takes a lot of energy for your body to break down fat and digest it. It takes a lot of energy. It takes my body for me to break down 100, let's say an avocado is 200 calories and a Snickers bar is 200 calories. You're like, fuck it, I'm gonna have a Snickers bar. It's 200 calories. I want the Snickers bar, right? But what's happening? The second I eat that Snickers bar, there's absolutely, besides the peanuts, let's go with an Oreo. So Oreos, right? It's 200 calories of Oreos. I'd rather have 3 Oreos than have an avocado. Okay, that's reasonable on paper. But then when I eat that Oreo, the only thing that's happening is that I am spiking my insulin. It is wasted calories. It's not giving me any sort of energy. It is a spike and a drop. Sugar rush. You give your kids sugar, beep, they drop again, they want it again. They drop again, they want it again. An avocado takes a long time. Your body has to physically work to digest it. If I am working, no different than me being on the treadmill, I am using calories, right? I'm using physical calories to break down that avocado. So 200 calories in avocado, not to mention the nutrients and all the good fat and all the vitamins it comes with. By the time it makes its way through my entire digestive system, I have used probably 60 to 100 calories just to make that happen. So on paper, a 200 calorie avocado is really 100. 200 calories of Oreos is 200 calories on my hips. It's not doing anything for me. It's not giving me any source of energy, right? It's just not working for me. So when you hear the word empty calorie, it really is empty. It's doing absolutely nothing for you. So when you think about the foods that you're putting in, it's not about, oh my God, there's too much fat in it. It's like, are there chemicals in it? Are there added sugars in it? Does it have any fiber in it? We'll get there. Is it a good fat? I don't care how many calories in it. I don't care. I don't even look at calories. I don't count calories. If you want to, and it's a tool for you, that's perfectly fine. But here's a perfect example. What's a calorie? It's a measure of energy. That's it. How we digest it is also using energy. So choosing a good fat rather than choosing based on a calorie count, you will get more bang for your buck. You will be full. It takes longer to digest, so it's in your stomach longer. So you're fuller longer, right? And it's good for your brain. It's good for your skin. It's good for your digestive system. Like everything about it is good. So when you see fat on something, don't get scared. But where's the fat coming from? If you see trans fat, put that shit down. That is not good fat. That fat is that's the one that's going to kill you. Saturated fat is not so bad.
Where's trans fat come from?
Processed foods, fried foods, bakery goods. So hydrogenated oils, partially hydrogenated, don't have.
So go from here right to your house, lock the door.
Correct. Correct. Okay. So it's, basically how we digest it, guys. So that's like, besides it being great for your gut and all those things, it's just important to understand that it stays in your stomach longer and it helps you with your brain function and it helps actually break apart your fat, right? You're not adding fat to your hips. You're adding fat to your hips when you're eating processed sugared foods. So here's samples: fatty fish oils, you guys can read them. They're right up there. Flax seeds, like things you might not think about, but like adding flaxseed to your yogurt is an amazing thing to do, right? Because it's good fat. That just changes the whole dynamic of that yogurt. Please don't make it like a strawberry Dannon. Like a vanilla, Greek yogurt, fantastic. Add flax seeds to it with berries.
Your ground flaxseed.
Yeah, don't use them. Yeah,
Your ground flaxseed. You're welcome.
yeah.
Don't use them or use what?
Use it.
Ground flaxseed. Your body won't digest it if it's not ground. Straight through.
Straight through.
Oh, interesting.
which we'll get there. That's actually the next thing. So, next thing is fiber, which is exactly what she's talking about. So, so fiber is your friend, my people. It's not just because your doctor told you to have fiber. And this is why fiber is so important. So fiber is a carbohydrate. Carbohydrate is made up of three things: sugar, starch, and fiber. That's your carbohydrate. I'm gonna say it again. Starch, sugar, and fiber is a carbohydrate. Those are the three things. So what does fiber do? Keeps you full, takes your blood sugar down. It's good for your heart, cleans out your colon, blah, 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 blah. Right? So when we're looking at foods and we're looking at a carbohydrate, this is where I like to bring fiber in. We're looking at a carbohydrate, right? So the back of the package is 20 total net carbs, right? It's a piece of bread, 20 total net carbs. And then the next line is fiber. And I'm like, all right, well, the fiber's one. Well, that doesn't really do anything for me, because that means 19 of those carbohydrates are sugar or starch. It'll tell you how much sugar, right? It says total carb, fiber, sugar. That's what a label will say. So my total carb is the total amount of the fiber, the sugar, and the starch. It's going to tell me how much sugar to tell me how much fiber. So if 20 grams of it is total, and now I have 10 grams of fiber and no sugar, that means my net carb that my body is reacting to is 10. That's low. It's different than 20. So now when you go home and you look at the side of your pasta and you're like, holy shit, it's 36 grams in a cup. Right? If you're having a cup of pasta, Dan, that's it for 2 days. You don't need any more. It's plenty of carbohydrate energy. So just understanding how you incorporate it is a really, really big part. So this soluble, this insoluble, what they do is different. So basically, like what Jess was saying, you cannot physically digest it. So it goes through your system untouched, which means there's absolutely no reaction to your insulin, which is the next point. So it keeps you full. It goes into your intestines, it goes into your colon, it scrapes you out, it takes cholesterol with it, it cleans your gut out, it is food to your probiotics. So fiber is a super, super important thing to incorporate, and make sure when you're having a carbohydrate, unless you're cheating, if you're having a carbohydrate, that the level between the two total and the fiber are high. You don't want 1 gram of fiber and 25 total carbs. That is just going to give you a spike like eating a cookie. No different, right? You want that fiber to be up there with it so that that total net carb comes down. That is what you're trying to do. All right. So it manages your hunger. It manages your insulin, which is our next one. Gut health, like I just said, it feeds the good bacteria. And it's just, you've heard it your whole life. Your doctor's like, you need to make sure you have your fiber. And it's because like the side of the Cheerios, right? Like can bring your cholesterol down because it's cleaning out your colon. If it scrapes the cholesterol out of your colon, your cholesterol is coming down, right? It's just a very great tool, and it's really very easy to get in, guys. It's fiber. All right, understanding insulin. This is like a main. Yeah, of course you can.
Do you look at that per meal, or do you look at that over a range of time, like
Me.
the day?
Me. Okay. So I keep I'm going to tell you my little secret. So I keep my total net carbs throughout my day, total, including my drinks, everything that I have. I keep mine about 25 grams total out of a package. I am not considering like a vegetable or anything like that. I don't put those numbers in. So if I'm eating bread and I'm eating peanut butter, or I'm having jelly, or I'm having a glass of wine, those are the total net carbs that I say for my day, I'm at my max. Some days it's lower than that. So 25 total net grams is what? Net, meaning my total net with my fiber minus it is my total net carb. So I keep mine around 25. So if I'm going to have a bowl of pasta and I'm going to cheat, I'm not going to have anything else that day. I'm saving it all up for that pasta. I'm not going to have any fruit. I'm not going to have any crackers. I'm not going to have any bread. I'm going to literally keep it as simple as possible so that when I go out and I have that pasta, I am not overspilling this insulin. I am literally going to just be like, oh, I'm saving room. Choices. I'm giving myself the room to enjoy that pasta with absolutely no guilt. Because if I wake up in the morning and I have my oatmeal, and then these are all great. I have my oatmeal in the morning, and lunch I have some quinoa, and then I have a half of a sweet potato, and then I go out for dinner for pasta. Those are all fine, just not in one day. It's too much in one day. And I'm going to explain this why, because it's really an interesting fact. So, okay. Insulin. This is the key, guys, to losing weight is insulin, is managing your insulin. So If your insulin levels are constantly going up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down, so is your metabolism. Ding, 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 ding. If I'm in a race and we have 26.2 miles to do together and I'm next to Jess and I am literally going like this, how many more miles am I doing? She's in a straight fucking line going straight there. Sorry for my cursing. She goes straight there. She's the one that's revved up and she got there faster. No different than your insulin waves, right? So if I'm going to eat a bagel and then I'm going to drop down and then I'm going to have an Oreo and I'm going to drop down. If I have 2 eggs and half of an avocado, I have a road bump. And then I wait and I have a Greek yogurt with some flax seeds and some blueberries to keep that good fat in there. I have a road bump. You want these little road bumps. You don't want these huge spikes and these huge drops because it just creates havoc on your metabolism. Havoc. It's like chaos. So if you think about the high fat and proteins and fiber in your meals, you are going to create road bumps and you're not going to make mountains. So you're just trying to keep that super steady is what you're trying to do, right? So that sugar rush we talked about, you don't want that in your bloodstream. And then the more you do that, the more you want it. Does anyone right here like, oh my God, I am a carb freak? You're a carb freak because that's what you're feeding your gut. That's the message you're sending to your brain on repeat, that you want it, that you need it. You can't live without it, right? You crave it. We all like carbohydrates. Who doesn't like a bagel? Just don't have to have it once a week, right? You don't have to have it every day. Like my daughter who I want to kill. All right. So I just said that if you're running that race, right? So your metabolism, I just said the same thing. I think I said this enough times. Okay. So I'm moving on to the next slide. So, oh wait, I want to find one other slide. Hold on. I'm moving quickly here because I want to go back the other way. Hold on. I'll get back to it. Hold on. I'll get there. Really shouldn't do that. Okay. Understanding this. Okay. You guys want to know about intermittent fasting?
Sure.
Okay. So this is one of the tricks. Besides lots of little hacks that I have, I'm not giving away all my secrets. Lots of little hacks that I have. It's about a system, guys. It's finding your system that works for you. So intermittent fasting, we just talked about insulin, right? So your insulin, you have this tank inside of your body. I will get to that slide. You have this tank inside your body. You want that insulin tank to kind of always be half to a quarter full. We don't need, it's like a martini glass, right? If it's always at the edge, it's going to spill over. And every time it spills over, that's fat stored. I don't want to store fat. I want to use my fat. I want to use the fat that is in my body. I have plenty of stored energy, guys. I think we can all agree we have some stored energy that we would like to use, right? So if I'm constantly putting in and I'm never letting that tank come down, all I'm doing is just constantly adding on top of it. You're never going to lose weight if you're just living at the top. So you want that insulin to come down. I'll get to that slide. So the insulin comes down by eating good fat, proteins, and fiber. Limiting your carbohydrates, limiting wine. I'm not saying not having it, but like if you're going to choose to have wine, maybe I don't have 2 pieces of fruit that day. I'm going to drink my fruit rather than eat my fruit. It's a choice. It's a choice. Just make the choice. It's not a no. Just make the choice. So intermittent fasting is basically taking your insulin levels down to the bottom. If my body has no energy, readily available energy, which is food, it's amazing. It's going to find energy. So the first thing it's going to do is going to tap in. It's going to tap into the stored glycogen in your liver, then your muscles, and then it's going to go, oh, wait, I have some in my cells too. Let me get that out. Let me now use fat as my source of fuel, because what are the 2 things that make energy? Carbohydrate and fat. So first you're going to use carbohydrate. There's no way that you can skip carbohydrate, just like there's no way you can skip losing water weight. You have to use the carbohydrate first, and then you move into the fat. But if I don't have that glucose, carbohydrate in my blood, I'm going to start to break down and use the fat. So that's what intermittent fasting is used for, to take that insulin and bring it all the way down so that I can start tapping into stored fat. Now, there's different versions of it, and there are different reasons for it. Sometimes you want to fast because you're trying to prevent disease. Sometimes you're fasting because you're trying to lose weight. Sometimes you want to undo a cheat. So the length of the fast will depend on what your goal is. But if you've never tried fasting, I'm a huge faster. I think it's a great tool and it's free. You're not spending any money on it. You don't have to do it every day. It's something that, but you have to do it right. Like you can have a cup of coffee, but I wouldn't have like a Dunkin's mocha. That's not, that's sugar. I'm just dumping insulin in my bloodstream. I don't want that. I want to keep my insulin down so I have my road bumps, not my spikes in my down, right? So the length of the time really just depends on what your goal is. And there's different, There's different ways to do it. As a beginner, 12 hours, most of you probably do it already. If you stop eating at 8 o'clock at night and you don't have lunch, you don't have breakfast till 10, you've just done a 14-hour fast. So some of you probably do it. It's trickier when it gets longer. When you're at 14, 16 hours, you got to train for it, guys. I'm telling you, you train for it. It's not something that you could do overnight. But you start off slow and then you push an hour and you push an hour. Breaking your fast, what you break your fast with is also really important.
Any tricks for like, so if I could eat like a huge plate of pasta at a restaurant, but when I'm eating like healthy stuff that's like high volume,
Yep.
like I get full fast. So like if you're only eating like all of that within like a short time, like I wouldn't want to eat that much. Like, do you have any tricks?
You're not, I wouldn't try to recommend getting all of your food in the feeding period.
Okay.
You're just leaving on a meal.
Oh, so it's less.
You're eating less.
Okay.
You're eating less. You're not
Do it
eating
all
your
the
3
time.
meals.
So you wouldn't do that all the time, right?
I do.
Yeah.
You eat a way less than we think we
You
eat.
don't want to eat less than like the minimum.
Do not eat less than 1,200 calories.
Yeah.
But remember, if you're eating good fats and you're eating proteins and you're eating the right carbohydrate, it comes with a calorie dense meal, right? I'm not just eating like lettuce. That's horrible, right? So like, putting the flax seeds on, putting the nuts on your salad, the chickpeas, all those things. Yes, it puts, again, I'm not looking at the calorie, I'm looking at the quality of food that I'm putting in my body. So typically I would eat 2 meals a day. Like something small at lunch. It could be chicken salad in a carb savvy wrap. It could be peanut butter on some type of cracker. And and then I have my normal dinner and my tequila. It's also, which is step number 6, it's a mindset, there's a lot of, but I want, yeah, so does everyone, how do you get through it, right? But if you're eating the right foods for a longer period of time, the cravings go away. So I have a member here that's doing with me and she's like, I don't crave carbs anymore. And it was so funny. She came up to me and I'm going to use Chris again because she's like, I need your help. I eat like an asshole. I was like, all right, let's do it. Right. So she's, I guess like 7 or 8 weeks into it and she looks great. And she was like, I don't think about carbohydrates anymore. I go, because you're feeding your gut the right stuff. So the message to your brain is, I want the right stuff, right? If you're going to feed your gut all the sugars and the carbohydrates and all that stuff, the bad bacteria is like, we're winning. And they send that message from your gut to your brain that you need pizza. I am craving pretzels. I'm craving. You're craving it because your gut's telling you are. Now imagine if the good bacteria are doing their thing and they overgrown the bad and they're like, I really am in for crunchy cold salad. Imagine saying that to yourself. It's what you feed your gut is what's going to happen, right? So you have to put the good stuff in for that message to go to your brain. And then that's the cycle. It's practice though. I mean,
We're talking about addiction in
oh yeah.
a way, 100%.
Oh, for sure.
I'm not saying.
Oh, for sure. I mean, if you're addicted to sugar, you're addicted. It is.
It's
It's an addiction. And it's not an easy thing to get off of. And I'm not saying this happens overnight. It's a lot of practice and there's a lot of falling, but and there's still room for some sugar, but there are some people that I've met along the way that when they let that sugar come back in, even fruit, they are triggered.
Yeah.
They are triggered for more and more and more. And, it's tricking the system in that where we're like, okay, so let's put that with a really good fat so that we don't have that huge insulin spike and reaction in your body, that we have that good fat with that when we bring it down, all of a sudden you're like, oh, that was satisfying. That was enough, right? I wouldn't have Oreo cookies in the avocado. That's still an empty calorie, right? So, all right. So gut health is really, really, it's your second brain, guys. So the way that it works, I'm just going to keep going through the whole slide. So I'm just tapping into it now. So your gut has this, it's a microbiome, right? That's considered your whole entire colon, small intestine, large intestine. That's where all of this lives. If this is not healthy, you have so much inflammation in your body. You can get brain fog. You don't feel good. You're tired all the time. And it might simply be that your microbiome is off. And it's not a simple thing to fix. But by eating everything I'm telling you to eat, the good fats, the fiber, and the vegetables and the proteins, again, you're going to switch that balance in there. And if you switch that balance, you're going to get the right message to send to your brain. So you definitely need like probiotics. You don't need to take a pill. You could eat it. Anything fermented is a probiotic. Anything fermented. Pickles, kimchi, kefir, miso, those are all fermented. Those are all probiotics. And I truly believe in them. I'm a huge believer in them. So, there are certain variables, and like, I know my system and I know exactly what my day looks like, and I know how to cheat and I know how to come off of it. And I've found my balance. And that's really what it's about. But you can't find your balance unless you put the system in check. The system has to be in check first. It has to have a healthy gut. So you could start it. You have to understand what food means on your plate and what's physically going to happen in your body so that you can say, I know what's going to happen. I know how I'm going to feel, right? Food is your fuel. So without it, you're not going to have the energy that you want. I made it to my tank. Okay. All right. So this is that insulin tank I was talking about, right? So if you're living on that side where you're always at the top, you're never going to lose weight. Ever, 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 ever. You're just going to, you eat something healthy, that thing's going to spill over. Right? So if you're constantly living, like if your daily diet, and even if it's healthy, starts off with oatmeal, and then it has quinoa, and then at dinner you have a sweet potato, and then you're having a glass of wine, I am already at the top. Insulin doesn't have to just come from bad food. It comes from the amount of carbohydrate that you're having. Right? So if I start my day off with two hard-boiled eggs and a half of an avocado, and then at lunch I have my high seed fiber crackers with some peanut butter on it, or that's my snack, and then lunch I'm going to have, I don't know, grilled chicken over a salad, I'm going to look like the bottom tank. Right? I have a lot of room to cheat. Remember, this all started with being able to have the food you want, right? So I have plenty of room to go out for dinner, right? Like, that's what I want to look like when I'm going out for dinner. How you get there is a system, right? I want that so that when I'm done on Saturday night and I wake up the next morning, all I need to do is work out and eat clean again. And that tank's going to go, ooh. So that is your goal. This is how you would lose weight, is by keeping that tank really, really low. So I wonder if this will work. Oh, how do I hit play on here? Oh, play video. Can I play? You want to play?
That's fine. Yeah, but yeah.
Look at me. She's actually a member at Middletown. Wait, how to put the volume up?
My name is Christella
Oh, that's
Ponte.
what's
I'm
okay.
based out of Middletown, New Jersey. So during their 6-week program,
You guys can hear that, right? Can you guys hear that?
And then since then I've been maintaining and I lost another 10. I have tried everything from Weight Watchers to Noom to keto to macros, and I just can't picture my lifestyle counting all the time. And I really love Clean Cut because it's all about balance
You guys hear them
and
here?
healthy eating and finding the right way to make it work. And it's definitely something that, every program says this is gonna be in your life, but this is definitely gonna do any life.
Now play. Okay, guys, we're just playing it over here.
My name is Christelle Ponte. So during their 6-week program, I lost 3 pounds, and then since then I've been eating, I lost 100 pounds. I have tried everything from Weight Watchers to Noom to keto to macros, and I can't picture my lifestyle counting all the time. And I really love Clean Cut because it's all about balance and healthy eating and finding the right way to make it work. And it's definitely something that, every program says it's a community life, but this is definitely mine.
So she's adorable. She's still at our theory in Middletown, and she is still losing weight. She still looks great, and she still enjoys her weekends, and she has life because, we take it step by step. So when I do my program, we do the first week, we literally practice good fat. That's all we do. Then the second week, we practice fiber, and then we build on it. The third week, we practice intermittent fasting, and we talk about insulin. And we just build, and all of that worked for me. This didn't work for me. Karen, what do I do here? And we just mix and match and find it. And there's recipes and there's apps, and it's all really fun. Websites, Facebook boards, communities. It's a whole world out there behind all of this. And it's really just about finding a system and understanding what's happening in your body when you're eating food and the choices that you're making, not just trusting the marketing on the front of the label. Like gluten-free. Okay, so that means it's good for you? No. That doesn't mean it's good for you just because it's gluten-free. It's good for you if you have gluten intolerance. But if you don't have a gluten intolerance, just because it's gluten-free doesn't mean you're making the better choice. So it's all about learning how to make the better choice. The best choice is obviously out of your refrigerator, but we can't live like that. Right? And we're not going to slave in the kitchen. So there's hacks and there's shortcuts. And it's just about putting real food in your body. Real mayo, real butter, Irish butter, not like Breakstone butter, like Irish butter, grass-fed butter. That's the good stuff. That's the stuff that you want. So when you're putting it all together, guys, it's a mindset. It's not a stomping your foot and saying, but I want it. I mean, who doesn't? Who doesn't? But when your gut's in check, and your mindset's in check and you want the good stuff and you're feeling good and you're realizing you're sleeping better and your energy in here is better and you don't crash at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and your skin is not breaking out, you don't have, your psoriasis is coming down, your inflammation in your body feels better and your joints feel better. It's the whole thing is about what you put in your body. It's that simple. You put chemicals in your body, it has no idea what to do with it, and it's foreign to your body. It cannot convert aspartame into energy. You're not tricking yourself by eating sweet and low because it's got no calories and it's sugar-free and fat-free. All you're doing is putting fat into your cells because it has no idea what to do with it. It's like, I'm going to store it. But like we said before, if it's stored fat and it's not real fat, you will never, ever, ever use it as energy, ever. You can't outsmart it. You can't out exercise it. There's nothing you could do. So if I could say anything starting now, stop eating the fat-free, sugar-free pastries, the fried foods. Those are the things, we all know it, right? But it's really poison. It's poison. I'm not saying I don't like fried chicken, I don't eat it, but I don't have, it's once in a while, right? But it's the constants. It's your things that you do on a constant basis that are going to add up. It's not the one-offs. It's not the one Saturday cheat. It's not cheating all day on Sunday that's going to unravel you. It's starting on Thursday night and eating anything you want like an animal until Monday morning. That's the problem, right? And then you're like, but I'm really good Monday through Thursday morning. Great. So you're in a hamster wheel, right? But I go to Orange Theory. That's great. That's great. You went to Orange Theory and you did an hour class and you went out for a bacon cheeseburger and French fries. You need to run a marathon to burn that off. Right. So thinking about that tank, and you could just keep that tank in the back of your mind. You look at it and you're like, okay, well, I've had X, Y, and Z today. I think I'm kind of full, not physically full. I'm full on that type of food. I need to start bringing in the good fat, the good fiber, and the protein. Protein and fat are your friends. It's that simple. Yeah.
I have a question.
By the way, hi, I haven't seen you in forever.
Hello.
Hi, our schedules do not align.
What about the protein shakes?
So I don't listen, I'm not against a protein shake at all. I just like to chew my food. But
Because I'm not a morning person, so for me, I get up, take a shower, do my hair, and I'm like, I'm gonna be late. So now I'm gonna grab like the mere protein.
yeah, I don't like those. I'm sorry, they come with chemicals.
What's a good alternative then?
Intermittent fasting.
I was just, thank you, Dan.
Sorry.
No, you're right. It is. The answer is intermittent fasting. But what are you breaking your fast with really matters, right? If you're going to use a protein powder, my suggestion is using a real powder. I have yet to find a protein powder like it's already pre-made that doesn't have chemicals in it. I've yet to, or if it doesn't, it's vile. Like I've tested a lot to try it out for my clients, but I can tell you that protein, it's really just as easy. I mean, get a shaker bottle, put it in there, put water in it, shake it, or put coconut milk or whatever you put in it, and you have a shake. It's not that's not difficult to do, right? At least you know what you're putting in it. But ideally, like I would have a protein, anytime you're having a protein, you should have a fat. You really, but if that's your morning routine and that's easy for you to grab, can you just put a scoop? Just again, talking about clean cut, it's a swap. It's not a no. Just swap it for that one. And now you're doing the right thing for yourself because you think you're doing the right thing because you're like, oh, I'm just grabbing this premier protein, except it's full of chemicals. And now I'm really not doing anything for myself. Right. But you're like, but I have protein shake, but I have a yogurt, but I have quinoa, but I have a sweet potato, but I have my oatmeal. Like those are all fine, just never in one day. And that's where I think people go wrong. They start their diets and they take all the pieces and they have these big funny, I have kale, like just pick all the words, right, that are out there and you think you're doing it right. But in the end, you're just doing too much of the right thing. So you're not getting where you want to go.
I just want to.
Of course you can.
With the water, I don't like drinking water,
Mhm.
but I'm like, crystal like.
No, you're killing me. No.
What ice cubes in your tequila? And drink the water.
No.
But Ultima, like the one with the electrolytes.
So there's a couple of brands. There's one called Lint, LNT.
Elementary.
Thank you. LMNT. I'm so happy you're here. LMNT. It's a little pouch. It does come in a flavor and it literally is sodium and potassium. That you could use. That you could use. But the Crystal Light is literally just chemicals. Like if you look on the side of it, it probably says aspartame.
And I don't brew it, I just put it right in the. Okay, staff is the front of it. Okay. They have like lemon, berry. I don't
That's
know,
great.
Karen, if you-
No, I mean, tea is fantastic. Tea is great.
Do you have any hacks? So there's like food and nutrition. But I also feel that stress is a big component. I'm assuming like the hormones that come with that cortisol. So I have kind of two modes. If I am in serious, like life stress moment, I will lose weight and body fat. But if I'm in moderate stress mode, which is my usual state, then I feel like it's really hard. I'm fighting it, even where my nutrition and my fitness is good. And I feel like that's sort of the third thing that is sort of determining sort of where I am. And then there's kind of these plateaus too with like life events, right? There's pregnancy, there's, all these other physical things happening. So how do you kind of manage that piece? Do you have any hacks for that piece of it?
Yeah, so it is cortisol is your problem, right? So strangely, so when you're really stressed, you lose weight
Yeah.
because you're probably not eating, right?
Like when I am like things like law school, or like even where I'm like physically stressed or COVID, I lost weight during COVID. It's when we came out of COVID and I was only moderately stressed.
So when you're, but like, here's my question, when you're really, really stressed, because everybody has an emotional relationship with food. We all do, right? Either you're an emotional eater, you're a stress eater, you're a tired eater, you're a sad eater, you're an angry eater. Everyone has some relationship with food besides just their daily day, right? So obviously is your relationship with food when you get really stressed out that you just don't eat as much?
I think it's like a time factor, like, and an access factor. Like a lot of, like, especially even with my work, there are points at work where there could be a day where I didn't have time to go to the bathroom, drink, move. And so now that's really easy to do intermittent fasting when you're in
That's
that
what you're
mode,
doing.
right?
But that's what you're doing, right?
So it's almost like it's kind of the circumstances are supporting, I guess, what makes.
But that's what's happening. So when you're at that
easier.
extremely stress level, you are doing these very long fasts, which is why you're losing
Yeah.
weight. And then when you're
And people
moderate,
tell you look great, but you're like, I feel like.
you're like, I feel like my hair's falling out.
That's where you should feel good, but I'm like, I feel like ass, because I mean.
Well, you have no energy, because you have no energy.
Yeah.
I mean, without any food, you have no energy. I mean, there's a fine line of fasting and then there's starvation, right? So, I mean, honestly, when you're in those very stressful states, you almost have to like pull yourself away for a moment and be like, I need to feed myself. I need to fuel myself. This is way more important than this next call. I can be 5 minutes late. Or prepping yourself. I'm going into a very stressful period. I need to know that at my desk, I need to make sure I have a jar of peanut butter there. So when I can't leave, at least I can take a spoonful of peanut butter and I can get a pop of energy. Right? Like I just think you have to plan for it rather than being this frantic like Taz. And by the end of the day, you're like, oh my God, I didn't even pee. I didn't even drink water, right? Like you got to kind of go into that with I know today's going to suck. So I need to prep before, take my moment, prep myself. I have 2 hard-boiled eggs, whatever it is, just so you know it's there. And you have to take the time to just be like, listen, every day is not going to be perfect. But when you're in your moderate stress levels, you're probably have your cortisol is high, but you're also eating, right? You're having some food or you're a little stressed eating, you're angry eating, or you're like, trying to get it all in.
Or
bored.
it's just more access, so.
Right. And then you're grazing, which is my whole point of insulin. Because if you graze all day long, all you're doing is beep, 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 all day long. So by the end of the day, your tank is back to here. As opposed to like having your meal, it being satisfied, not thinking about food for 4 hours, having your meal, being satisfied, being done. Right? Like your meal should keep you full for 4 hours. If your meal is not keeping you full for 4 hours, evaluate what your meal was. You probably need some more fat in it, maybe more protein, maybe more quantity. Right? We're not starving ourselves. I'm not asking anyone here to starve themselves. Cortisol is a funny thing. When you're in here, you're elevating your cortisol. That's what you do when you work out. You're stressing your body. Right? That's what we're doing. But after you're done and you recover from it, you feel great because your cortisol has dropped down and now you have, you feel euphoric, you feel good, right? So they're all hormones that play in, right? Like your hunger hormone, your satiated hormone, so sometimes when you're a stress eater, like you just can't turn off. You can't turn off the hunger hormone. And that's what happens. And then you have to come up with tricks and hacks and talk to yourself. This is step 6. It's the mindset. It's planning it, it's prepping, it's having lots of conversations with yourself. It's having a mantra. What stops you? What pauses you in your tracks before you say,
Hey Karen, just having been through this
Mhm.
and lost weight successfully, with
Mhm.
a lot of help. Karen, the other thing I would say is just get through the. You can cheat in the future, but get through the first couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Because a couple of things happen. First, all the biological stuff kicks in, so it makes it much easier after a couple of weeks to make good decisions.
Yep.
It makes it so much easier. The second thing is, and I think we all know this from coming to Orange Theory, it becomes a habit.
Mhm.
And, the habit takes a lot longer than 2 weeks to establish all this stuff as habit, but 2 weeks is a good start.
Mhm.
And, give yourself 2 weeks of the discipline, and then you'll find how much easier it is to manage the cheats and do all that stuff. Now, if the opposite can happen, right? Bad habits can creep in. which
Yep.
is why I'm here.
love it.
Support circle.
I love it.
Like, give yourself the opportunity of those first couple of weeks, and then you really will see it gets much easier with the planning. But again, that all becomes habitual, right? Having the right stuff on hand becomes like, go to the grocery store, get the same stuff, it's available.
And another part of it is like, so when we work together, it's about finding what satisfies you. Like if you're not looking forward to what's in your refrigerator that you prepped for lunch, you're not going to eat it. I would never ask you to gag something down that you don't like, because you will never sustain that lifestyle. You have to look forward to your food. And like Raph was saying, it's not always easy when you're coming off of like having dessert every single night or eating what you want. And then you're changing that, you're switching that lane, and now you're going into this different style. I'm going to say a style of eating. It's your body is still going to want the other stuff for the first couple of weeks. It is. It's not going to be so easy. But all of a sudden, like the cloud clears, it's like, you're like, I feel good. God, I feel good. Isn't that the goal? To feel good, right? To come in here and have the energy you want. And every day is not great. Listen, every night's not great. I mean, I don't know if you've ever heard me say it, like I'm on mic sometimes and I'll watch you guys in the tread, and like, I'm just gonna use like Maria, like one day she just crushed the treadmill. And I was like, I literally said, I'm like, what did you eat last night? And she like giggled and go, I'm actually not kidding. Like whatever you did last night, do again and again and again, because that was your secret sauce, right? Like whatever you did that day before was amazing, because she felt great. So she's like, oh, I'm like, I'm really not kidding. Like, just write that down, because that's your secret, right? So it's understanding and like thinking about it, like, why do I feel this way today? What did I have yesterday? Right? So, like to Raf's point, it's, staying in lane. You could veer off. There's room for life and fun, but come up with your system. Like, do you veer off and you enjoy Sundays or Saturdays with your family? You have a dinner out, whatever that is, enjoy that. But then just cut back in lane. Just the next day, just be like, okay, that's it. That was fun. That was so fun. It's over. Right? The next day you go back to plan A and you do it again, and then there's room again. And then you take your tank and you bring it down. And it's just about finding the system that works for you, with the education, obviously, with truly understanding what's happening inside your body, because there's a whole world behind this. And it's fascinating. It fascinates me. And there's so much, there's new stuff coming out all the time. So, it's just about the give and the take. Sure, you can have it. Yeah, like Dan had pasta yesterday. Like that was a choice he made. It's fine. It's fine. He also chose to come to the gym today. I'm sure he's fasting. And I hope you don't have pasta against
Are you making it?
Dana.
I think it starts with a plan, right?
Not me.
We all gotta really man up, right? Because I went through a stage where I was eating pizza at McDonald's the same day for these guys. And I'm not blaming my kid.
Yeah.
And Cobra went the opposite. We started drinking every night. We're like, we're not drinking.
Right.
And then Cobra started, we start drinking.
Right.
But the point is, if you don't really man up in life about anything in say 2 or 3 weeks, like my friend over here alluded to, it's not gonna happen. You have to have the balls to man up in everything in life, and diet and nutrition and lifestyle change is no different. because it's all inside of us. Everybody has that inside of us. It's just a matter of how do you
I was gonna
implement
say,
it?
go
How
ahead,
do you
Dan.
stick to it?
Yep.
And then everything gets easy. And then later on, you're driving by all this bullshit on the road.
Yep.
Because it's all to suck you in. I don't own any of it, so I don't care. Don't suck it. If I did, I'd tell you to care. You get my point? Like McDonald's, Burger King,
Yeah.
Dunkin' Donuts, Wendy's, it just lines up. It just sucks you in and you have to get away from it.
I was driving home last night from here and I don't know why I went the other way. I was going to a liquor store. And I was,
Probably.
yeah, I was going up to Total Wines
Yeah.
and I left here. I was going to Total Wines and I was thinking about what I was gonna have for dinner. Like, am I gonna go like, and I just gone food shopping. I'm like, oh, I'll put this together. It was nothing that was hard to do. And I looked at the line at Wendy's and it was around the corner. I go, people do that?
Right.
Like you do that and you do that and you think with like knowing you have enough time to turn your car around. You know what I mean? Like
It's the easy route.
it's the easy way to do it. It's so much, it's also very easy to go into a pizza place or go into a deli. You're still walking into a store. It's just a choice that you're choosing to make. It's really that simple.
I remember when I was a member, the one thing that Karen said that like maybe I was really bad about like eating before sleeping. And she was like, why? Like you don't need energy to sleep. You know? And I was like, that's true. And like piggybacking off like cortisol levels, like my schedule was a whack. Like if you know me, like I'm here and then as soon as I leave here, I go to my dance studio, I'm home at 11 p.m. Right. But because of that, like I did gain weight over time because my cortisol levels were like, I'm teaching and then I can't eat. But if you just plan the consistency of like, all right, I have like 5 minutes. I know these kids are gonna be late. I'm gonna drink the smoothie. I'm gonna have something, prepare myself.
Yep.
And the one thing that I really want to stress, if your cortisol levels are whack with like mine, is build a consistent sleep schedule. Like when you get home, unplug. Like if they're waiting till the last minute to text you at night, it can wait. You can make them wait till the morning to text them back.
That's right.
Right. I know a lot of people, your brains are wired in the middle of the night, but like that thought will be there tomorrow morning. That time for you to sleep is for you to sleep, right? Your body loves sleep. It needs sleep. That's where we really, really repair ourselves, get ourselves together. So one thing you're hearing me say this, Transformation Challenge Captain in Middletown, but here for anything, but sleep is so important. Give yourself a schedule. Don't just do something crazy, just drop into bed. Like give yourself consistency. Like take a hot shower, put some music on, like get some ambient lighting, light a candle. Like it might seem silly, but like you will be conditioned to see these things happening and you'll be like, okay, cool, I'm tired, I'm good. Well, let me relax. Like mine's at ease. Put your phone on airplane mode. Like give yourself the stress free because stress is another terrible factor that's so much.
I'm gonna piggyback because cortisol, when your cortisol levels are high, you can't convert your food into energy. You can't. It's a fact. So if your cortisol levels are here all of the time and they're not coming down, when you eat, even if you eat barely anything, you can't convert energy, which is why when people cortisol levels are really, really high and they can't lose weight, menopause, what happens is your cortisol levels go up and they just stay there. That's the problem. That's why you put on belly fat. That's what happens. You cannot use it as energy. It's the hacks.
What about after menopause? Does it come back down or does it stay?
It depends on what you do. It depends on what you do. Like if I can give you one suggestion, if you're menopause, you're done, 24-hour fast once a week. You will be shocked what happens to your body.
24 hours.
24 hours.
We looked into
I'm doing the 16, 24, okay,
One day,
one day.
one day,
like,
Week
thank
or
God.
one day a week.
Week.
Pick it. Pick whatever day works for you. If you could do it, you can have bone broth, you can have tea, you can have your coffee, you can have your water. But for a menopausal woman, 24 hours is a game changer. If I can give you one piece of free advice, not that I've given you a ton of free advice, but it's try it.
Why is that? What's happening on that 24 hours?
So, okay. So again, there's different phases of intermittent fasting, right? So there's the intermittent fasting where you're now ketosis, right? You're also limiting calories, you're limiting, and your insulin levels are all the way down and you're using fat as fuel. That's your first up to 16 hours. Then after your 16 hours and you start to tap in, it's called autophagy. So now you're repairing cells. You're killing off bad cells. It gives you opportunity for your cells to regenerate themselves, the healthy cells. After 24 hours, you have kicked back in what your body would react to as an estrogen reaction. It's really an amazing thing. And it's one day without food.
So regardless of your age, you can do this and get to the weight you want.
You could,
At the age.
you really can. There's no magic pills. I know what Instagram tells you, but I mean, listen, are there hacks? Are there things that are in some of those products that are probably really good for you because they're adaptogens and like they're putting maca in them? And yes, you could also take those things. We can have a conversation about that. But like, there's a lot of, it's about your system. It's just about understanding, trying, practicing. It works for you. Raph figured out what his was, right? He knows what his car foods are. He just has to remember to do them now. Right? But you think about, Raph, how you felt when you first started doing it. Like, let's talk about after the 6, 7, 8 weeks of it, and you were just running. You felt great. Your body, you felt good here, PRing, everything was great, right? And then holidays happen, dessert sneaks back in, blah, blah, blah. And you get a little sluggy. You're like, I don't like that feeling. I remember that feeling. So you start to go, once you have the feeling of clean, and then you veer off, you're like, it's really not, it's way easier to get back in lane when you've brought yourself and the system's working. I don't mean your system. I mean, like your metabolic system is working. It's way easier to cheat and veer back, come back in. You'd be surprised how quickly your body responds because it's like, oh, I remember that. So it's the longer you do it. So I had this question asked all the time, and then you guys can ask me any more questions that you want. I'm done. How long does it take? How long does it take? The honest answer is 9 to 12 months of consistent clean eating. That doesn't mean there's no cheating. It's your system. Working your system for 9 to 12 months becomes a lifestyle change. It really does. Unless something tragic happens in your life. But like, listen, I've had tragedy in my life and I don't throw my hands up and not care about myself. Right? Eating clean is not a punishment. If you lean into it like it's a punishment, like, oh, I can't have, you can have it. What are you going to take away so that you could have it? That's all. I can have whatever I want. You can have whatever you want. It's just how, you know, what do you do before? What do you do after? And what are all the other pieces that are non-negotiables? Water. You have to drink all your water. And please put salt in your water.
Pink Himalayan.
Pink Himalayan salt, please.
Sorry.
I was waiting for that one.
Please. And the reason you do that is because pure water doesn't hydrate you. You need sodium. So
That's gonna open up a whole other bag.
yeah, we'll talk about that another time. Listen, there's a lot of information. I've said, like I said, on the other side of this presentation, there's a world of information and there's a world of answers. So I do have for you guys, if you want to, you can pass them along anybody in Orange Theory. Lori and I are starting our next program actually aligns perfectly with the Transformation Challenge on the 16th. We start, ours is 6 weeks long. We have Facebook. It's a really great program. I have a code for you guys. If you are interested in it, you can pass it to anybody else you know at Orange Theory for $50 off if you want to do it. Just play around. You can just follow us and find out a lot of information just by following us. Plus, you have me right here. You can ask me any questions you want, but you know, I'm not gonna give it all away for free. So if you're gonna keep picking my brain, I'm gonna ask you something.
That's a business.
Any more questions?
Egg whites and whole
Okay, so the whole egg is amazing. The egg white is just a little bit of protein. All of the nutrients and the vitamins are in the yolk. Now, if you're someone that runs high on cholesterol, eggs do come with cholesterol, as does steak, right? There's certain foods that are higher in cholesterol. If you have an issue with cholesterol, I would limit your eggs and increase your fiber. Right? But if you're someone that doesn't have any issue with cholesterol and your body makes a certain amount of cholesterol and your body filters it out perfectly fine, you can eat eggs all day long. You're not going to get high cholesterol from eating eggs. You're going to get high cholesterol from eating processed foods. But again, if your body genetically makes higher cholesterol, I would be mindful about putting higher cholesterol foods in my body. Right? I would just be mindful of it.
2 things. I love alcohol.
Me
Like,
too.
I really do. What are like some cocktail or like just anything that you recommend?
I love you so much.
So I know, I just keep really.
But you've been dry this month, haven't
Say
you?
seven, man.
I've been 7 days dry.
So Paula is asking about alcohol drinks, guys. Okay. Really simply, tequila is your friend, vodka is your friend, seltzer's your friend, lime, orange, anything like that, just squeeze it there. It's not, again, a lot of information on alcohol, what happens to your body when you have it.
Mhm.
It's the issue, besides what happens in your body, it's adding sugar to it.
Right.
Just like a yogurt, when you have added sugar to it, it's not good for you. Put it down. So like, just don't add sugar to your alcohol.
Right.
Right. Just like a club soda. And fun fact, tequila is very good for your gut. It helps your microbiome.
Don't tell me that.
I know.
God,
I know.
Another thing, I remember last time when I was here, you talked about bullet coffee.
Yeah.
Is that still a thing that's like good for you? What is it?
Yeah, so bullet coffee, you'd use in a fast. So like I said, you can have your coffee. So basically it's your coffee with a little bit of cream and MCT oil, or you can put some butter and MCT oil. I know it sounds really crazy, but you kind of put it in a blender. So you put like a teaspoon of like Irish butter or MCT oil and then cream or just the butter. So what happens is the coffee and the fat, MCT, medium chain triglycerides, fat, that's your good fat. Trans fat is your bad fat.
That doesn't break the fasting?
No, because it doesn't spike your insulin. So it takes your insulin levels and pulls it down.
I've been drinking my black for.
Oh, you don't have to do that.
I know, I literally have.
See, I told you, you're gonna love me. You don't have to drink your coffee black. No, you can put some cream in your coffee.
I love black.
I just wouldn't put 2 tablespoons of sugar in your coffee.
I never did.
Yeah, so
I
put your
use
cream
the
back in.
bad stuff though.
Oh, yeah. Like next time you go to the store, pick up the mayo, pick up like light and pick up the regular and flip it over, just for fun and read the ingredients. Or Coffee Mate. Pick up like the blue Coffee Mate and then pick up the Natural Bliss Coffee Mate and turn them over. There's actually, I don't think, any dairy in Coffee Mate.
I think it's one of the top 10
It's all
worst things.
soy.
Worst thing. And they now have a Fruity Pebble flavor.
That it would have.
A what?
Who wants Fruity Pebble flavor in their coffee?
Just vile.
It's disgusting. But look at the back, next time you're at the store, just for fun, like look at the back and you're like, oh my God, like the front of this says fat-free, sugar-free. So I picked it up and like, when you flip over Coffee Mate, the blue, the original, and the Coffee Mate Natural Bliss has milk, cream, sugar, vanilla. That's it. I know exactly what my body's gonna do. The other one, it doesn't even, I don't need, it's hydrogenated oil, palm oil, flavors,
A lot of.
color. Like there's no milk in it. You could leave it on your counter all day. That's a problem. I don't want that in my body. Right. So it's those little things, just understanding them and what you're looking for. Like look at your light mayo and look at your regular mayo. Mayo is going to be oil, eggs, and egg yolk. I think that's it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. There's nothing wrong with mayo. Don't put light mayo in your chicken salad because you think it's good for you. It's not. Right. So it's really a matter of understanding that the real stuff is the good stuff. You know, and managing that insulin tank is the key. Because when you do that, there is lots of room for all the fun stuff. That's it. Anything else, guys? Was this helpful at all, or did I confuse the shit out of you guys?
No.
Okay,
You're the smartest one.
I'm like, okay, I hope I didn't confuse you guys. You guys get it? Sorry, I wasn't
Yeah.
talking.
This was awesome. Thank you so
Oh,
much. Very helpful.
All right, good. I'm gonna send you guys the recording and I'll also put the link to the Embody. You don't really need to do. We just talked about it. I won't put that up there. But I will also post up the discount codes as you guys aren't here if you want to use it. You can pass it along to your friends and family. I'm happy to anyone that is related to anybody at Orange Theory can use the discount. Be perfectly fine with it. But if any more questions, you could just ask on the Facebook board and I'll be happy to help.
Thanks,
guys good?
Karen.
You're welcome. Yeah, if you have any other questions, just ask me. Okay. So if you guys want to stay for a second. You guys have any more questions? Where you guys going now? Is everyone going out for burgers and? I thought you gotta go buy some drinks around.
What?
You gotta go buy suits.
No, just.
I think it's a deal now.
Come walking by.
I know what you're.
It's so weird. But I mean, but think about it, right? Like all your senses are a huge part of it, but they do it on purpose. That smell is purposely pumped out so you can smell. It's just crazy. I mean, like I walk out of here and I smell that. I'm like, oh, that smells good. I mean, but once in a while it's totally fine. I mean, I read this whole book. It's like the Dorito effect, and it's so sick and crazy what companies do to make you get addicted to their food. It's insane.
Commercials on TV at the time.
Hungry.
Hungry.
But like McCormick, the Spice McCormick, they are in everything you eat. They are like you can look at the back of like ground beef and like it'll say like something and like natural flavors. Was it?
Yeah.
So natural flavor could come from a natural source created in a lab.
Yeah.
It's not a chemical, but it's a natural flavor.
Everything comes from nature.
Yeah, right. But McCormick, your kids are amazing. That never would have happened in my life.
I would have killed.
Oh, I thought they are amazing.
She's starting to be pushed up something. Okay,
Seriously.
Yeah.
go on.
You can do whatever you want now.
The boats involved.
All right, we need to close.
Okay, it's up front. I'll get it for you guys. Hold on.
Code.